Hello everybody and welcome to another Harry Partridge live stream. And today I'm going to be working on the intro that I am animating for my friend Chris and his channel Comic Tropes, which I just put a link to in the video description. So if you want to check out the Comic Tropes channel, it's a great channel. Chris is a cool, funny, interesting, nice guy, and it goes into lots of history and analysis of comics throughout all the decades, all of them, every single decade. You got the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. He totally skips the 80s. No, I'm kidding, he doesn't. Right up to completely modern comics. And Chris is great, the channel's great, and he asked me a little while ago to produce a 10-second intro to his future videos, and he did pay me, by the way. This is not a job I'm doing out of the kindness of my Scrooge-like heart. And I am still working on Dr. Bees. Of course, Dr. Bees is horribly belated now. But I thought I would go ahead today and stream a little bit of the progress on this, because it actually is getting underway. It's nearly done, I'd say. I'm only a couple of days away from finishing this, because it's only 10 seconds. It's not a giant project. But you're not really going to see that today, because a lot of it's being done elsewhere. I have an assistant on this. Yap, my assistant is doing some work that you're not going to be able to see today. But I will be able to show you some of my progress. Let me just share out a link on Twitter so that people can see what I'm up to. Hey, super chat from Mr. Comic Tropes himself. Chris, what an absurd thing to do, to give me such a generous, humongous super chat when you've already paid me to do the job. That is very, very unnecessary, but that's the kind of guy Chris is, everyone. That's a very generous super chat from him. Anyway, I'm going to copy out the video URL and share this publicly, and then we're going to get into it. So, I will stop my yammering in just a moment and we can get to work. It's not going to be the most thrilling work today. It's going to be cleanup. So basically I'm taking rough drawings I've already done and cleaning up the animation a little bit, and well, you'll see when I get to it. Just tweeting out what I'm up to, which is my live streaming. Alrighty. Okay, everybody, so I'm going to have a sip of coffee, and I'm going to show you the current rough version of the animation. Now, this is just the kind of animatic, very rough animation. A lot more is done from this stage, but I'll show you where we're at. So this is the intro that we're going with. Something like this, and bear in mind, please, very, very rough. Okay, so that's rough. That is rough animation. Please remember that. And I'll explain things a little bit because the animation is so rough. You don't really get a good idea of what's going on. But we're going to start off with this. I'm actually going to turn the music off for a moment so you can hear me. We start off with Chris, the presenter of the Comic Tropes YouTube channel, who we're doing the intro for. Chris is floating in space and kind of doing a spin. And I haven't animated this shot yet, but it's going to have an effect where it starts off like pencil lines, like he's drawn in pencil, and then as we kind of rotate around him, he's like Sailor Moon or something, doing some kind of eye catch in an anime. As we rotate around him, he's going to fill in with inks and then color, almost like he's a drawing on a comic book page coming to life. So Chris spins around, and then we get this zoom out, and we see that Chris is kind of falling through space. This is the bit we're going to be working on today, actually. It's cleaning up Chris. Chris is filthy, and we need to clean him up, okay? Apologies to Chris. And Chris is going to be falling through space, and then slam, he's punching. He's doing the superhero landing. He's like Gina Carano. He's like Henry... what was his fucking guy's name that played Superman? I nearly said Henry Selick. That's not the right person. Henry Cavill. Doing the superhero landing, and then this is the meat of the intro as Chris runs through this kind of comic book world. We're gonna have like a Jack Kirby future city turning into more of a kind of I don't know, like a desert, like a Conan desert. You see we've got a Conan archetype. We're gonna have a superhero Superman archetype. I think these are gonna be probably kind of copyright free or copyright yeah, copyright independent, and I'll see if Chris has other opinions about that he can share with me. But I was going to make the superhero kind of a generic Superman type, but maybe change his ethnicity, change the color of his outfit. And this is kind of a Howard the Duck type. These will all be drawn in different styles, which will kind of be fun for me to animate. Although, like I say, we have our assistant Yap working on the animation, so he's going to be doing a lot of the cleanup with me and for me. We've got a tentacle holding a ray gun, kind of an Incredible Hulk. This is not Dogtooth down the bottom of the corner. We're gonna have kind of a Dick Tracy shadow type noir hero. And then as Chris dives into the comic, it is actually a little bit like the Trilby Dogtooth moment where Dogtooth jumps through the comic page. Chris and I actually talked early when we set up this job. He asked me to do something or kind of like that. He sort of used that as a reference point, so that's kind of what we're doing here. But then it sort of freezes in motion, and then we zoom out to see that the comic is being read by, forget the guy's name, Infotron the robot, who is a character on the Comic Tropes YouTube videos. And if you're just joining us today, I'm working on a 10-second intro for my buddy Chris's channel Comic Tropes, which looks at comic books and comic book history. So that's what we're working on today. We're doing a little bit of cleanup. We just ran through the intro, but I'll show you guys one more time. It's very, very rough animation, so it's a little hard to follow exactly what's going on, but Comic Tropes. Also, as Chris is kind of falling, we're going to have him starting out in space, and then I'm thinking some kind of gigantic Galactus-like character is going to be sort of stood over him. I'll put in even more stuff. I want to throw in maybe in a kind of an Osamu Tezuka type character, so we sort of represent anime and Western characters, maybe like a kind of a Tintin type or something. I'm sure Chris can throw out ideas. I'll listen to any that he has, but we want to represent comics as a kind of international thing that's, you know, spanned many decades. I don't just want to have 60s Marvel characters populating the scene. So today we're going to be doing cleanup, and we're going to be cleaning up in particular this little bit here as he's kind of sort of falling through space. I think this is going to be a short stream of probably only about an hour and a half, 2 hours max, so it's not going to be probably a lot of time for us to do all of the cleanup. But yeah, to give you an example, so I've just turned off a layer here. This is what I was working on earlier today. So if I show you guys, actually, let me see here. Haha. Let me see. I'm trying to figure out my layers. So this was rough animation. As you can see, we got the rough animation of Chris running from right to left, trying to dodge out of the way of different characters like the Tentacle and the Hulk. I know it's really rough. It's hard to follow. But what I did is I then produced some slightly more finished animation, which you guys can see here. And this is what I sent to my assistant Yap. So this is what Yap is actually, he has now finished this and cleaned it all up. I think he's probably going to color it tomorrow, although I'll have some more stuff for him tomorrow. But this is an example of like a finished frame. I threw in a couple of, I think I gave him 50 frames to do, but I finished 8 of them myself, and so to give him an idea of how I want the cleanup, and the shadows are going to fall in the areas with the X's, the green lines to separate the shadowed area from the non-shadowed area. So that's what Yap is working on right now. But today I went ahead and, because I finished the stuff that I gave Yap basically ended at this point, so I went ahead today and I did a couple of frames myself. So I worked on this ending bit of Chris jumping up into the comic book panel here. I went ahead and did that. So basically that's kind of the level that we're going to be cleaning up to. And now I can go over to Toon Boom and actually get some of the cleanup done. And this is the sequence that I talked about earlier with Chris kind of falling through space. Although I've jumped a few frames here. That'll hopefully kind of become apparent later on why I've done that. But this thing of him doing the superhero landing, I'm going to clean up a bunch of these frames. It's a shame that I'm not doing the kind of Howard the Duck and Conan the Barbarian type characters. I know that'd probably be more fun to look at than Chris. I know Chris is a beautiful guy, but I didn't really do him justice here with my character design. This is the character design, by the way, that I gave to my assistant. Just to help me and him get an idea of what Chris would look like from different angles, and obviously to give all the colors, give him a guide for the colors. And that's kind of what we're going to be doing. We're going to be cleaning up Chris, and I guess I can get to it. I am gonna look and glance up at the chat from time to time, and hopefully if you have any questions that you leave me, I can get to them. But I'm gonna try and get a fair amount of work done today. So if you do send a super chat, I'll definitely read that out, but I won't be completely distant the rest of the time. So this, I don't really want to do this frame first. That looks like it's going to be annoying to do because I don't really have a good. I don't want to do a full face frame. I think I'm going to start off with this one. Which is actually a little hard to read. I've made the frames just a little bit too too pale, a little bit too hard to see. Also, and this is like a minor thing, but I'm really self-conscious about drawing a likeness of somebody else. Chris, of course, is the presenter of the Comic Tropes YouTube channel, and I do think he is in the chat with us, and he is of course already okayed this design, but I do hope that I'm not being too cruel with the likeness. And every time I draw any sort of wrinkle or fold of any kind, I hope that Chris isn't secretly cringing and thinking, I don't look like that, Harry, what are you doing? So we're just going to draw, I'm going to kind of get to a frame here, sort of give myself like a guide almost for how we're going to draw the rest of them, because we've got a bunch of frames that are nearby. So how is everybody doing today? I hope you're all doing well. It's honestly kind of a crappy old time, isn't it? It just is, man. I don't know where it's like. I don't know what it's like, excuse me, where you are in the world, but Britain is going back into national lockdown, or England, I think, is going into lockdown. I'm not sure about Scotland and Wales, but yeah, that's going to be our flavor of November. It's going to be a lot of hanging out inside, which is basically what I do all day anyway. And it's very sad. And Halloween yesterday was it was okay, but it was very low key. I did technically put out decorations and accept anybody that would come to the door, but we had two knocks at the door the whole night. So I understand why, of course. But I wanted to, I didn't want to give up and not put out any decorations. I at least got in the candy. So I ended up eating all the candy myself, basically, which is kind of how I expected things to go. So we're drawing Chris here, and I'm going to actually pull my... let me put that at least on the same layer, Harry. Good lord. Going to grab my kind of reference image here and stick it on the same layer. So this is what we're going to be doing today, folks. It's cleanup, which is probably one of the most boring things you can imagine. It does not make a thrilling live stream to watch cleanup happen, but it's just the way things are at the moment. We want to get this bad boy done. I would really like to finish this cartoon, or this intro. It's not like a full cartoon, it's a little 10-second intro. I'd like to have this finished by the 3rd, actually, would be great. Because of course I have other projects I want to get to. Want to finish that Dr. Bees, which is horribly delayed, and I promised to everyone. I did put out on Halloween yesterday, I put out a 30... No, actually it was about almost a minute. I put out a preview of the new Dr. Beast cartoon so that folks could watch it for my patrons, just sort of to give people a reminder to say, look, I promise I am working on this. I really thought it would be finished last month, but now that makes it only more certain that I'll be able to put it out in November, because the animation is not completely intense. I mean, it's Dr. Beast. The animation is not that crazy. Should be feasible that I would be able to finish the cartoon in a month, but the cartoon ended up being quite a lot more ambitious than I originally expected. Alright, gonna have a little bit more coffee. I will say that working on the Comic Tropes intro has put me very much in the mood to get to work on my belated Starbarians comic, which I've been teasing on and off for far too long. And again, that's another thing that should have come out in October. I wouldn't expect the entire thing to be out even in 1 month. It would be a case of uploading kind of pages as they're finished, almost like a classic webcomic. And I think I'm going to do it, maybe call it at about 45 pages. I think that's what I'm aiming for. And we'll put that in as black. And that will be going up on Patreon for the $5 patron level. And I think I'm going to get to that this month. I don't think that it's going to be delayed any longer. I'm really, really thrilled to do it right now, and I just can't wait. So that's my goal, is to put that bad boy out, at least the first couple of pages out in November. Be cool to finish it by the end of the year. I don't want to jinx myself. I've got a lot that I want to do by the end of the year, so we'll see about that. But the priority is finish this intro, finish Dr. Bees, and also I recently on Patreon accepted a couple of commissions at a discount, obviously for patrons, at a big discount. I was going to then go and sell the rest of them publicly on Twitter, but actually they sold out on Patreon, so I didn't get to do the full priced offering, but that's fine. It worked out very nicely, but I got to get to those this week too. So Dr. Bees is kind of currently, it's not on the shelf, I wouldn't say that, because I'm going to be getting back to it in just a couple of days, but I've got these other kind of engagements I've got to get to. So this is a bit of a flat drawing, I gotta say. I just hope that with the this is sort of the beginning position, as Chris is falling through the air, he sort of flies up and then he falls and he does the big superhero landing. I'm hoping that as the arms kind of animate and fall back, we get a little bit more depth. Okay. Connor asks if I have an idea about why animation tends to lose life from the cleanup to the from the rough to the cleanup stage. And I know what you mean, Connor, but I don't know. I think that it's just that happens not necessarily in animation, but in all art forms. You have like the initial kind of rough energy of something, like a demo for a song, or just a drawing, you know, roughing out a drawing, and you sort of, as you start to nail things down, you sort of rein yourself in a lot and really start paying attention to all the details, and it can sap out some of the life. I think that my roughs are equally lifeless to the finished thing, so I don't think I lose anything. I don't think I lose anything there. Lucky me. Yeah, I think that's just a pervasive kind of issue that a lot of people have, but you got to clean up your work eventually, or not. I was watching a little bit of Sword in the Stone today. Joyce had that on downstairs. I was hanging around because I wanted to see sexy Mad Madam Mim. Remember when she gets incredibly sexy for about 2 seconds? She's like, I could be fair with a silvery voice, long purple hair. I can't remember the lyrics, but that always made me like tingle when I was a kid watching that. But alas, it didn't happen, so I didn't want to watch the whole film. I had work to do. She only just put it on, and that's, you know, like halfway through the film or more. But that film uses the Xeroxed approach that Disney had for a while, like 101 Dalmatians used it as well, where they took the actual drawings of the animators, or really the drawings of the cleanup department. They weren't the rough drawings of the animators, they'd already been cleaned up once, but rather than have them inked and painted and retraced basically by the ink and paint department, they just Xeroxed the cleaned up pencil drawings, which are still, they're clean, but they're not, you know, you still see some sort of, you see the hand at work, you get like that rough pencil line. And a lot of people like that look. My dad is a big proponent of that look. I know that he likes the way that looks. I actually am not such a fan, really, of that look. It's fine. I don't dislike it, but I'll tell you what, Joyce was watching a little bit of The Black Cauldron afterwards, which is a similar film. It's got that kind of medieval fantasy vibe to it. It's not a great film, and I mean, it's not controversial to say that. It's a Disney film, but it's not one of their best. And I was still struck by how good it looks, and that is similar in a lot of ways, but it has that extra level of polish to it with the all the animation having been cleaned up after the fact. And I do really like the way that film looks, and I honestly don't mind the film. It's a bit flat and boring, but you know. Okay. Chris is looking intense here. This is what we call, this is an in-between, folks. This is why it can get away with looking a little bit fishy. Just a little bit fishy, because this is an in-between. Alright, so something like that for the hair. Something like that. Because it's sort of, he's falling through space and time. The hair is going to be flapping and doing its thing. It's all going to be hanging back. All right, I mean, that's not a great drawing, but it's acceptable. It is acceptable to mine eye, so that's a good sort of starting point. I may just continue on from there. And let me see that. So basically, if we get back to the animatic here, you kind of see this thing where he's basically he starts falling, like he's falling through space. So it's going to loop. We're going to get a couple of frames and then just play them over and over and over. And I'm going to probably now produce the same frame again. I could even copy and paste it probably, but redraw things like the hair and the clothing, sort of the wrinkles on the clothing and the loose parts of the clothing, so we get like that motion, you know, like it's flapping around. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. Although I'm going to clean up this stray line because it's driving me crazy. Right, so that's fine as a frame. He looks a bit weird without the beard. Hey, that rhymed. And we're gonna add that in later when we do the color separations, which are the green and blue, the ugly green and blue lines, which help create the light and dark areas. And as you can see on the character design, Chris's beard doesn't have a black outline. I thought that looked a little bit too kind of strong, so it's all part of the coloring stage, really, the beard, and same with the shading and everything else. Let me see, anything in the chat that I can tackle? John Mayer says, these days I really like Tonico Pantoya's stuff. I think I'm saying that right, Tonico Pantoya. He is a great animator, and yes, he has a lot of that energy and kind of roughness in it, but he still really knows how to make it look clean, or it feels clean, but you're right, it's not like it's not incredibly polished, but it still has a lot of that finish to it. I think that's what I'm saying. Hey, Harry Ashfield, thank you for coming by. Harry Ashfield is one of the kind people that commissioned me last week on Patreon, and I have not checked the email inbox for the commissions in a couple of days, but I aim to finish them all this week, but I've not checked, so I'm sorry if anyone who was paid for a commission has been like, hey Harry, can I have an update? It may have been 2 or 3 days since then. So we're creating this animation of Chris falling, and I'm cheaply just going to reuse some of the drawing we've already done and just try and get away with it. Something like that. Something like that. And what we're going to do to try and hide the fact that I'm just shallow, I'm a shallow hack here, reusing the drawing we've already done, is I'm going to just try to sort of move some of the loose parts of the clothing over a little bit, so they have to be redrawn to get a little bit of that motion back in there. And I might redraw that knee just for one frame. I don't love the way that came out. So yesterday, like I say, it was kind of a dull old Halloween. Nobody really came by. My stepdad came around briefly, and we had 2 kids knock at the door, and I gave them some not very high quality candy. I didn't spend a whole lot of money this year because I just didn't think there'd be many people coming by, and I was right about that, obviously. And Joyce and I, you know, we ended up watching the new Scooby-Doo animated film, not the CGI one. We watched Happy Halloween Scooby-Doo, which was the straight to video Actually, they're both straight to video, but that was the new 2D film that came out this year. They usually put out 1 or 2 2D Scooby-Doo films every year, and I didn't like it very much. I thought it was stupid. If anyone else saw that, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts, but it wasn't very good. It was just the whole entire film was them being chased in a car. They were in a futuristic car the whole film, which was sort of powered by the brain of Bill Nye, and they were being chased by pumpkin monsters the whole film, and Elvira was in it and Bill Nye was in it as the guest stars, and I just didn't love it. It was a far cry from Zombie Island. Zombie Island obviously was the 1998 the first straight-to-video Scooby-Doo motion picture, feature film, whatever you want to call it, and was really cool, and this one was not really cool. But I think Joyce liked it, so that's good for me. I'm glad she liked it. I started watching while we were getting settled in, sort of before the night really got underway. I started watching a movie I'd never seen before, which is, again, it's a stupid kids film, but it was starring Caroline, I think Rhea is her name, and it's called Mum's Got a Date with a Vampire, and it's on Disney Plus. Because I just looked at it, I thought that's a film I would have watched as a kid, because I like the actress from Sabrina, and I like things with vampires. I would have definitely watched that as a boy, and I was probably about 15 minutes into it when I had to change the channel and do other stuff, but that film had a cozy vibe, and I would have gladly watched the rest of it. I can't help it. Sometimes just kids' films have kind of a coziness to them. If you're tired or whatever, you can just sort of zone out and leave them on. I was more than happy to watch a little bit more of Mum's Got a Date with a Vampire, which is a great title. So maybe I will do. I actually have Joyce, whenever she goes away, and sadly with all the restrictions this year, I don't think she's going to get to see her folks at Christmas time, which is not happy news, but usually when she leaves me alone for 3 weeks, I watch lots of terrible films, and you would think I would watch kind of action films and horror films, and I do a little bit of that occasionally when I'm totally by myself, but I tend to watch just chick flick crap that actually she doesn't want to see, even though she's the resident chick of the house. I will watch, one Christmas I watched What Women Want with Mel Gibson and Helen Hunt twice. That was, I think it was like Christmas 3 years ago, and I watched the Melissa Joan Hart straight to DVD comedy Holiday in Handcuffs, starring Melissa Joan Hart and Mario Lopez, which I would like to watch again this year. It's really, if you've ever seen that movie, it's about a woman who she has to go and spend Christmas with her folks in their lodge, and she is like a early 30s woman that's not yet found a man, and her parents are pressuring her to find a guy, so she literally ends up handcuffing a man at gunpoint and taking him hostage to meet her parents. And it's a ridiculous premise for a film. Just watch the trailer. That's honestly what happens, and it's so ridiculous that he doesn't manage to get away and call the cops. He ends up weirdly kind of falling for her, even though she kidnapped him. Imagine swapping the genders. Imagine a film where a guy holds a woman at gunpoint and handcuffs her and makes her pretend to be his girlfriend for the weekend. It's a Christmas film as well. Oh man, I feel guilty here drawing Chris's belly. It's not fun. So guys, we are drawing some animation frames today for the intro to the Comic Tropes YouTube channel, which is a great comic review channel here on YouTube. And I'm drawing this for pay, but also for my buddy Chris. It's going to look a little something like this. This is just for people that have joined us and wondering why I'm talking about Christmas movies and drawing someone's belly. I'll just turn on the sound so you get a blast of what it's going to sound like. So that's obviously the rough animation. We've got a lot more done than really what you can see here, but we're cleaning it up at the moment, and I am cleaning up the bit where Chris is kind of falling through space. So I'm gonna something like that. It's not very I could maybe create a little bit more movement. Something like that. Yeah, guys, if you've not seen Holiday in Handcuffs, check it out. it is a comedy film, even though it's literally about a man being kidnapped at gunpoint and held hostage. Alrighty, so I'm going to add in an in-between now, and because I was so lazy with literally just taking that first frame and copying and pasting it, I am going to go ahead and actually redraw the in-between manually so that we get a little bit of that, a little bit more of that kind of hand-drawn boil in the frames, and that's going to help, I think. What is going on here? Let's get rid of that. It's turning the whole screen red because of my reference frame being on the same layer. Okay. And I will keep checking if I see good questions. Cristobal Aguilera says, oh my, this will take a while there. Yeah, it will do. It's already taken a while, but we already have quite a lot done. And my assistant Yap is working on some cleanup right now for a big chunk of Chris's running around. And I'm going to be handling some of the other little moments, like the beginning and the very end, and also some of the other characters. I will kind of keyframe them, like the duck and the kind of barbarian and the characters attacking Chris. I will keyframe them and do the color models and stuff and the designs, and then I'll send them over to Yap, and he'll probably do about, I don't know, maybe half of the work, which he is also getting paid for. I should say. Okay. I don't get paid and then go and give people work and not pay them. So this is all above board, just so you know. So Tom Bigocci says, when you said Melissa Joan Hart and Mario Lopez, I thought you were talking about Very Merry Toy Shop, which has Tara Strong in it. Hey, does that also have Melissa Joan Hart and Tara Strong? Because if it's got and Mario Lopez, because if it's got those three in it, I would watch that. I would watch that. Although it sounds like it's probably an animated film, right? If it's got Tara Strong in it. I don't think she does live action stuff too. Maybe she does. I will say the other day I caught a Frasier episode on TV. I was actually in the gym. I know. The gyms are closing again. I had to get in while I could. There's another month of them not being open, which I'm not super happy about. But I watched it in the gym, and halfway through the episode, Laura Linney appeared on the screen, and I quietly under my breath went, Linney, yes. I like Laura Linney. She is kind of your I can't really describe her. She's in Liar Liar. She's his horrible wife in Liar Liar that just pretends to like him because she's part of the Liar Liar. No, not Liar Liar. Sorry, Truman Show. I was thinking of, like, what's that film with Jim Carrey in it where the truth isn't told? It's also the Truman Show and also Liar Liar. But yeah, Laura Linney's in Congo, one of my favorite films, and I was like, oh cool, Laura Linney's in this episode, sweet. And then 5 minutes later, Jennifer Tilly turns up. Jennifer Tilly is in Liar Liar. That's why I'm getting confused. Jennifer Tilly turns up too. And under my breath, I was going, Jennifer Tilly too. No grown man cares about Jennifer Tilly and Laura Linney being in an episode of Frasier. But I like those actresses. And then Aaron Eckhart was in it too. Two-Face from The Dark Knight turns up. Professional Simon McCorkindale lookalike Aaron Eckhart. And it was fun. I did a tweet a couple of years ago where I said something like, how sad is it when you want to look like Eckhart from Batman, but you actually look like Eckhart from Batman. And the two pictures I had was one of Aaron Eckhart from The Dark Knight, and the other one was the character Eckhart from the 1989 Batman film, who is he's not a photogenic individual, put it that way. He's played by the actor that plays Porkins in Star Wars. He was a very heavy set actor. Sadly, I don't think no longer with us, but a very heavy set man. And I just thought it was funny that they kind of they don't have similar names at all. One is the actor's name and one is the character's name. But enough mileage for me to get an unfunny tweet out that only about 2 people would enjoy, me being one of them. So we're cleaning up our frame here of Chris falling through space and time. Hopefully we'll clean up more than this today, because let me see, we're probably about an hour in already, and I want to make sure that I can get to a good amount of work today. We're about 40 minutes in. All right. But I don't know what to do with those tossed salads and scrambled eggs. They're calling again. Alright, so this is the t-shirt flapping around. And let me see, keep drawing this in. Oh, come on, Harry, speed this thing up. Speed this thing up. So I sat down today, and before I got to work, I decided I needed to check up on some recent indie animation output that I had seen had been released, but I hadn't got to watching it yet. One of those was the new Hell of a Boss by Viv Pop and her crew, and the other was the first full-length episode of Black Sun Vendetta, the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fan production by Rice Pirate Mick Lauer, and I had my socks knocked off by both of them. Both are in very different ways absolutely amazing, and I'm just gonna stand for a little bit about both of those guys. Mick honestly has made something really, really professional, and I'm sorry to harp on the production value of the thing and not so much the story and the characters, but I mean, that is, story and characters, they're the most important part, but they're also something that an independent can do. You can independently write a novel yourself with great story and characters, but to create animation that looks like and it was made by a major studio, I think is maybe a less important thing in terms of how enjoyable the product is. But it's like, that's the stuff that I can't help it as an animation guy. It like really blows me away, and just the production value was insane, and the sound design was so good, and the backgrounds were gorgeous. It honestly looked like something that if you paid for a DVD, I think his original goal was to kind of do like a motion comic animatic type thing. It is so much more in depth than that. The backgrounds are so much richer, the animation is so much more competent and fleshed out. And Rick, excuse me, I've just been speaking to my friend Rick today, so I got the name Rick on the mind. Mick is doing stuff with animation that I could not do. I couldn't do. And I'm sure Mick, if he was here now, would be super humble and be like, oh, he'd be like, oh, Harry, I'm not, you know, I'm not the best animator of all time, but like, he is really doing amazing stuff, and I couldn't do that stuff. I couldn't. It was mind-blowing. So he did amazing work. And then the Hell of a Boss by Vivian and her team, it's just the same thing. It's amazing production value, absolutely mind-blowing. It's long as well. Both of those cartoons were like around the 15-minute mark. I think Mick's was 12 minutes and Vivian's was like 14 minutes. And it's nuts what people are doing at the indie level, you know? This is not made by a major studio. Now, I know that there's money, you know, paying these people. It's not like, you know, they're just all doing it out the back of the garage for fun on the weekends. This is work that is being paid for, either through, there's, you know, Patreons and things funding it, and I'm sure a little bit of ad revenue. But it's, you know, it's still, it's nuts how amazing the work is that's being done by these people. And it's exciting because it makes me think that I think the line is really going to begin to blur with what is made by a studio or a television network and what is made by individuals. And it's inspiring as hell for a scrub like me, because I would like to get my stuff I'd like to make a lot more of it, and I'd like to get it to a higher level as well. And I feel like those people are sort of setting the bar and showing how possible that is. And Vivian really is the one that's doing it. She's taking it the furthest. I can't think of anybody that's doing indie animation at that level. I mean, there's some really popular animation channels out there, like the Explosum guys. I remember Dick Figures was huge. I mean, Eddsworld is huge. But I think just the level of artistry that goes into the Has Been Hotel stuff and the Hell of a Boss stuff is, it looks more like a TV show than, you know, I think something like Dick Figures ever did. And it's just the characters are, you know, beautifully drawn, the backgrounds are beautifully drawn, and it's really exciting. And I used to find that kind of stuff made me feel bad, because I'd see it and I'd go, ooh, how come I can't do that? You know, like, how come I can't get my stuff out that often? Because that's the other thing about the stuff that Vivian does, is how often that she's actually putting it all out. I mean, it feels like every other month now she puts out like a 10-minute plus amazingly animated short film. That's the really inspiring part, is that you go, holy shit, like they're not putting it out at the rate quite yet of maybe a TV show where they can put out, you know, 20 episodes in a year, but it's not a million miles away. I mean, they're putting out what, you may be gonna get it up to like a speed of like 6-10-minute episodes a year. That's an hour a year of animated content. It's really high standard too. And Mick, you know, just put out something that was nearly quarter of an hour. I know it took him a long time, but the hope is, I think, for these people, and certainly I'd say the hope is for myself, that the more you do, the more you then have the ability to do. Because something like, if Dogtooth had done well in views, and I don't, you know, begrudge it not doing great in views, because I don't think it was necessarily destined to, but if that had got like 3 or 4 million views, I think it would have enabled me to make the next thing even faster. And I think the Dr. Bees, when it comes out, I think will enable the next thing to be made. It will sort of add just a little bit more grease for the wheels, a little bit more oil for the machine, fuel for the machine. I don't know what kind of analogy I'm trying to draw here. I'm trying to make the analogy that I'm running some sort of machine, and every cartoon that you put out is weirdly sort of composted back into fuel for the next cartoon, because obviously you can turn things like Patreon support and ad revenue back into funding. You can pay collaborators, pay assistants, pay all these other people to help make the next thing quicker. And I think that's where independent stuff is going to start to feel more like studio stuff in the future, because people will be putting out, you know, a popular cartoon that funds the next one, that funds the next one. They could do a Kickstarter that funds the next 4 or 5, and it'll feel like stuff made by made without, you know, a major studio will still feel like it's at the same level as stuff that is made by a major studio. And my hope is that it won't have the level of kind of creator restrictions and censorship that something like a Netflix or a TV channel may impose. But I mean, the sad thing is that YouTube still has its own level of censorship, and a lot of websites do, and obviously YouTube is currently the place that gets the most views. So in a way, it may still never feel completely independent, but I think that still gives credence to the idea that it's all blending into one. Oh, you can probably hear my voice is a bit tired. That's because I was voice acting Dr. Bees the other day, and I did a lot of voice acting in one day, and I absolutely wrecked my vocal cords. But necessary, has to happen. Okay, so we're gonna have another image here of Chris. Basically, in the intro that we're working on today, we have Chris falling through space. So what I'm doing is creating a bunch of frames, sort of looping back and forth, just so you get that feeling of the kind of, you know, he's out in space, so there'd be a lot of wind. No, he does land eventually on some kind of planet of some description. So yeah, the idea is that there's going to be sort of these looping frames of him falling, but I want them to evolve a little bit. I don't just want to loop the same 3 frames over and over again. So I'm going to try to get in there and actually have him evolve. So he goes from a couple of loops of this, up to the point where his eyebrows are a little bit angry and maybe the mouth's a bit more open, just so that at the sort of tail end of the movement you get a little bit more drama and sort of feeling of speed and action. Let me see what people are saying. Harry Ashfield says, Harry, question for you. Would you reconsider Kickstarter if it allowed you to do a one-off larger project, or do you think Patreon is your way to go from now on? That's a good question, Harry. I don't know if I can go into that much detail, but I've done a very, very good job of kind of screwing up, screwing the pooch on a lot of different approaches, and I can kind of tell you why. It's because I want to do a lot of different things, and I don't want to close off any particular pathway to do it. So I've been talking for a long time now. I have no problem with Kickstarter, actually. I really don't. Even when I made that video, it's like 6 years ago now. So it's a long time ago, but that video where the guy was sort of making fun of it, that was me making fun of the really shallow, crappy campaigns, like the guy that wanted to raise money to make a potato salad. That was me making fun of that. I don't care if people want to use it to make movies and games and stuff. I totally think that's legit and above board. And also, I would like to do something like that myself one day. But I've been speaking with a group of people now for a couple of years, actually, about a big Kickstarter-funded project. And it was selected as a Kickstarter project because I don't think it would be possible any other way. And like, I don't think that even like funding it through regular means by like going to like a distributor or something, even that wouldn't be possibly open to us, because there's no way it could ever make any money. It would have to be funded by people that wanted to see it. So we've been talking about that for a long time, and I think essentially I don't want to go ahead and do that. I don't want to go ahead and do Kickstarter on a different project before this other thing gets off the ground, because I think that would be, I don't want to do 2 Kickstarters in the space of like 2-3 years. I don't think that that's really a good idea, unless you can definitely deliver and make something really good. I think you'd probably be okay that if you did that. But I sort of don't want to do too many Kickstarters, so I want to preserve Kickstarter. I think the right to do a Kickstarter for this other project that has not yet come to fruition. And I will say that the COVID stuff this year put a big delay in it. Actually, it should have probably happened already, at least the Kickstarter portion of it, not maybe the actual finishing of it. But Kickstarter as a means is still something I'd like to pursue. It's just that the COVID thing made the one project that I'm sort of reserving it for not really viable this year. So maybe next year. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I definitely can't make shit on my own. I think I've proved that, right? I've proved when something like a Starbarians episode takes several years to make, I'm not going to be making 10-minute regular cartoons on my own anytime soon. So it's gotta, for things to evolve, I've got to set up some sort of team or group of people and not waste any more time. I think that's partly too the comic. I think is going to have some good sort of development there, because even though it's going to be given away, not given away, it's sold just sort of through a manner to Patreon supporters. It's going to be going up at the $5 tier, so the comic book will be there to all people paying at the $5 tier on Patreon. To people who don't support me on Patreon or who don't want to, or for whatever reason, they will be able to buy the comic as a separate thing. So that is something that I'm going to be looking to when the comic is finished, and I think that could be a good way of funding cartoons. I think that actually might be an interesting model of sort of making stuff and then making a comic and then going and making a cartoon and making a movie or something. It depends on how well a comic can sell, but I think that there's some viability there. It really remains to be seen, so got to definitely experiment. Actually, I'm wondering, should the bottom of Chris's shoes be black? Because he's falling through space. I don't know. That one's not colored in at all. No, I'll keep them black, because I think the space that he's going to be falling through is not going to be solid black. It's going to have some kind of color to it. I just worried that he'd blend into the background a little bit too much. Ha! Conman said make cans without labels too. I'm on it. Just give me, what do I need? 8 years and 100 grand? Something like that. Spollywood says, I've realized I can make realistically a minute of animation on my own. Do you mean what, in a week, in a month, in a year? A minute a month. Okay, you specified it below. Yeah, I mean, that's not bad. If you can do 12 minutes a year, that's a really good short every single year. But maybe you want to do a lot more than that. Maybe you want to do, you know, an hour a year, or maybe you want to do, I don't know, something, or maybe you just don't have the time to do that, because that's a hell of a pace to, you know, put out 12 minutes a year. I wouldn't be able to do that. I think I can basically do about 5 to 6 minutes, maybe 6-7 minutes a year, which is not terrible. The part of the thing that really sucks is I knew that if I broke those up into 7 minute long shorts and put out a minute long short every 2 months, people probably wouldn't accuse me of abandoning my YouTube channel. They'd probably be okay with that and be like, oh yeah, he's doing stuff. You know, his last cartoon was 2 months ago. But you wait, you know, a whole year to put out something that's 7 minutes, and they go like, well, where the fuck have you been? He gave up. You're like, no, I just made something that's actually, you can almost sit down and watch it. I don't want to, I mean, ideally, I want to make films that are 90 minutes long. I don't want to make stuff that you just sort of sit down and, you know, you just barely get into your bag of popcorn and it's over. I do want to make things that are feasts, you know, a big sit-down 3-course feast for the eyes and the ears, but that takes a lot of money. Bowser the Dog says, that's how I support a lot of musicians on Bandcamp. I started off just buying albums separately, then I find their Patreon support them there. It's good. Yeah. Davy says, do cans with labels. Imagine if imagine the cojones on John K if he just came back and said, hey guys, it's me, John K. I can't do his voice, but he's like, I'm back. I'm doing cans with labels now. Everyone would be like, fuck off, John. Fuck off. No, that's the thing. If you do a Kickstarter, you got to make good on that. You got to. I mean, I have a degree of guilt over not putting out enough content with my Patreon, but it's really the same thing. It's like if people are paying you to make stuff, you gotta make stuff. I did say to my friend Benjamin Daniel, who does the French dubs of Starbarians, a while ago, when I was gonna create a Patreon, I said I'm gonna go with it so it only pays out when I actually make something, because I thought, and this, I'm being very honest here, I hope you appreciate the honesty at least, I think there could be some real truth to it, that's a great motivator to make something. If it only pays out when you actually put a cartoon out, I would have to then have that thing hanging over me saying put out a cartoon. And he said, he's a lovely French man, he's like, no, don't do that, make it monthly no matter what, so you can concentrate on work and not be worried about deadlines all the time. And I think there was some truth to that. I don't work well under deadlines. A lot of people do. A lot of people say they need a deadline, but what I do is I look at the time I've got left and the amount of work I have to do, and instead of focusing and going, right, it's time to work, I go, fuck, well, I'm not going to finish that, so I'll try something else. And then I go, oh, fuck, well, now I can't finish that, I'll try something else. And I keep sort of madly spinning around trying to do 100 different things. And it would just be better if I wasn't thinking about time at all and could just get to work. So I think he was right about that. But still, the Patreon definitely definitely needs to produce more for the amount of support that I get. And I think if we can put out the Dr. Bees in November and then something else out in December that's good, that's a good start. That's three cartoons in a year, as opposed to one cartoon and a Kilgar's Code last year. So that would be better. And also we've got the stuff like we've got the Cartoon Buffoon, which we'll do another one of this month for sure, and we've got 5 episodes of Shot Blast out this year, which was not something we had last year, so there's been more content this year for sure. And the comic will be Patreon exclusive too, so I think we have had a better year on the Patreon than last year. It's just that it's got to get even better. It's got to get like 100 times better. That would be great. Bowser says, what if something happens to Joyce? Wait, what are you talking about? What happens if something happens out of your control and you have no choice but to miss a deadline? What if something happens to you? Yeah, oh, okay, you're giving me reasons why you, yeah, it's not, yeah, I agree. You're talking about the deadline thing. Yeah, I totally agree, man. I think about that all the time. I think about what if something happens to Joyce. She is my true love. She is the greatest thing in my life, and I would be a wreck if something happened to her. Unless, you know, the thing that happened to her was she stood on a cupcake and got cupcake gunk in between. I mean, a lot of things could be covered under the definition of what if something happened. What if she accidentally watched the movie Problem Child 2 twice in the same day? I think we'd get over it. I think we'd manage to move through it and we'd be alright. She hates it, by the way, when I go on live stream and I talk about her and say I love her and stuff. Which I think she's like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. It's cringe. She's got a good cringe detector on her. I don't. I'm full cringe all the time. Alright, so we're creating another frame here just so we get some of that wobble. And then we'll in between this one too. Okay, and we'll get rid of some of this stuff on the shirt, have the shirt flap around more. And move the body up a little bit. Funcube says maybe he should watch your live streams and bang on your door when you make... Wait, maybe she should watch your live streams and bang on your door when you make her cringe. I don't think she wants to watch the live streams. She would cringe herself out of existence. She'd sort of open up like a tear in the space-time cringe continuum. The cringe-duum. And she'd disappear through it. That wouldn't be good. I don't want her to disappear through a big flashing hole in space and time. Let's say the envelope tool in Toon Boom is really useful. Just being able to, I kind of didn't do a very good example of it there, but being able to grab lines and just sort of warp them around and stuff. Really good for just sort of quickly turning one frame into two. Okay. Big old week coming up for America. Of course, November 3rd is International Watch Problem Child 2 Twice in One Day. So that's why that was on my mind. Gonna make sure Joyce has her eyes glued shut the entire day so she doesn't accidentally watch it twice. I love that film. I watched that a lot growing up. I weirdly had an experience. I bought it at like a secondhand sort of thrift video store as a kid, and I remember the lady behind the counter sort of warning me and saying, "Oh, that film's been returned 3 times," or she had some sort of monkey's paw style warning where she told me, she said, "Oh, Problem Child 2, oh, people keep returning that one, they don't like it." And it turns out that she said there's something disgusting in it, and I didn't know what she was talking about. And it turns out it was a scene in the film where there's Junior sneaks behind a ride at a fun fair, or like a fun fair, and he cranks it up so it goes really fast, and everyone compulsively vomits on each other, and it's this big compulsive vomiting scene that just lasts for, I don't know, a good sort of 3-4 minutes. And I think that's what she was warning me about. I didn't care. I never returned that tape. I love that film. It's just a stupid 90s kids film. A lot of fun. But yeah, I probably will stay up on the 3rd just to see the election results coming in real time. Although it's not gonna be the end of it. I don't think. I don't think that unless either side has some sort of resounding, incredible victory right from the get-go, some historic landslide, I don't think that there's going to be an announcement for weeks. I actually think it's going to be hell. I think we're going to get a couple of weeks of absolute hell, and I hope that people in cities in America don't have to put up with horrible riots and stuff. And I just think it's going to be awful for everybody. And I'm sorry if that comes to fruition. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's all over quickly. But my gosh, I think it's going to be a bad couple of weeks. And what a lovely backdrop for it over here in Britain with the nasty weather and the lockdown. It's just been a crappy old year. Not for me. I've not had a terrible year. Some stuff has not gone very well, but generally it's been okay. I'm happy that I managed to put out the Trilby Dogtooth cartoon, because I wanted to put that out for a very long time. And I do think that too, if things stay relatively on track, I could put out Starbarians 4 this year as well. I'd still like to put that out in December. And that sounds probably way too ambitious, but I really want to. And then that for me, at least creatively speaking, would be a good year. But there's, of course, that's not the important thing. Me having a good year creatively is not that important in the grand scheme of things, unless you're me. All right. Well, so we've got him falling sort of in a mild state, and then him falling there with a little bit more drama. And I'll go ahead and do an in-between on this one. And I'll turn off the guide layers, and I'll see if there's anything I can tackle in the chat. Actually, yeah, if it's political, I'm going to say it right off the bat. If it's political stuff, I don't want to get into too much depth. No Snog. I don't know how I'm saying that. No Snaug. Hey Harry, I wanted to say I love your art style as well as your voice acting and sense of comic timing. Kilgar's Code is a delight to watch. Oh, thank you. Yeah, there's going to be more Kilgar's Code this year, definitely, because we got so close to releasing one last year, but it was Christmas themed, so I couldn't put it out after Christmas, and I unfortunately wasn't done. But yes, in fact, I have big plans for Kilgar's Code that I think are quite exciting, that I would like to get to in 2021. So I think we'll have episode 2 out this year. That's still pathetic, 1 episode a year, but then I think we could have quite a batch next year. That would be great. Cristobal says, have you ever seen any Troma films? They are gory fun. Yeah, I've seen tons of Troma films. I've seen Toxic Avenger and Toxic Avenger 4. I skipped 2 and 3. I heard they weren't very good. I particularly wanted to see 4 because it had my buddy Tom Fulp in it. Tom Fulp is in Toxic Avenger 4. He gets his eyes pulled out or something. Let me see. I've seen Class of Nukem High. I've seen Poultrygeist. I think I've seen Terra Firma. What's the one where they're making a film It's about people making a film. I don't know. I think I've seen that one. I know I've seen more. I've definitely seen more, but I can't remember them all off the top of my head. But yeah, no, I'm aware of Troma. I did meet Lloyd Kaufman about 10 years ago. You know, not like in a way that he'd remember. I actually have a funny story. I met him at a convention because he was there being Lloyd Kaufman, and I chatted with him for about, I don't know, about 15 minutes, and he sort of said, you know, what do you do? I said, oh, I make cartoons. You know, they're kind of Troma-esque, and like I think I got his email address, and we sort of chatted, and I wanted to, you know, because I'd been there annoying him, maybe for his, not annoying him, but I'd been there taking up his time. I thought, oh, I'm gonna get one of his books. He's selling movie making books. That's kind of up my alley. In fact, I have one of them in my room. I tried to look to see if I could find it, but it's behind a table. But yeah, and he signed it for me, and I was like, oh, thanks, Lloyd. And then the next day of the convention, I came back, and I was like, oh, you know, hey, it's Lloyd again. I'll just say hi. I said, hey, Lloyd. And he was like, hello. I said, doing good business today? And he was like, yep. And I said, oh, and I thought, you know, I started reading one of the books that I bought, and I went to get the other one signed, and I realized that he had totally forgotten me from the day before, and was it's not like he couldn't just remember my name. He totally didn't seem to recall that we'd spent some time chatting the day before. I felt a little let down, but he'd probably talked to about 100 people that day. Hey, Joseph with the super chat. That's very, very nice of you. Thank you, man. Joseph says, love the art. Where in Britain are you from? I am in Wiltshire, which is down in the southwest. My accent may not be the most Wiltshire-y, although it's a bit Wiltshire-y, but I've had a lot of other influences in my life. My stepmom, since I was 6, has been American. Well, she was American before that, but yeah, I've sort of grown up around a lot of different accents, I think. And I'm living with an American now. I can't get rid of him. Joyce is an American. She doesn't give a shit about the election. She's not. I don't know. I don't think it's fair to say she doesn't give a shit, but she's not in the mood for it. You know, it's like occasionally I'll bring it up, and she's like, "Don't talk about that. Don't. Just making me miserable." Which is understandable. Totally understandable. So if you're just joining us today, and I don't think we'll probably have anybody joining us at this point, but I am working on an intro for the Amazing Comic Tropes YouTube channel, which is, there's a link in the description, and we are cleaning up some animation of Chris falling through space and time. Chris being actually in the chat under the name Comic Tropes, and Chris is falling... Chris is falling through some sort of cosmic void of planets and superheroes, and so we're just creating a little bit of animation of him here falling. We're going to take a look in just a second and actually see what I've done today and see if it loops and if it plays back and what needs tweaking and what needs playing with. Probably everything. Alrighty. The GTX Beast says, keep up the good work, Harry. Between you and a lot of the Newgrounds originals have been a huge inspiration for me. Thank you, GTX Beast. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. People are still inspiring me today. We were talking a little bit today about all of the indie titans like your Rice Pirates and your Vivzy Pops today, and those guys they are, it's corny to say it, but they're killing it. They are killing it. Vivzy Pop is just, I can't think of anybody that is achieving her level of success right now. Maybe the Explosum guys, but you know, but she seems to have, I think her stuff is more incredible, and she's really taken it to the limit. And who would have known that the biggest indie web animator possibly of, well, maybe, I don't know, of this decade or the last one, I don't know which way, how you'd count it, but who'd have guessed it would be a girl? No, I'm kidding. Girls are just as capable. And thank you for the super chat, Joseph Crofts. Joseph says, hey man, I made friends showing your animations in school to people. Thanks, dude. Visit Ireland someday. Well, thank you, Joseph Crofts. I think I probably would like Ireland. I am actually, the older I get, the more I'm kind of missing that this sort of hilly nature type holiday. I used to find that stuff boring as a kid, but as a kid I went to the Devon and sort of more area of the south of England, and I'm actually hungering for that at the moment. I'd like to go on just like a hiking holiday and just walk around some wet fields all day in the rain and just kind of soak it all up, get soaked but also soak it up. And it's an odd thing. As a kid I just wanted to go to, you know, theme parks and stuff, and I still love that as well, but the older I get, the more I want to see of the actual countryside, because I worry that I don't know, not that I worry, but I think I'm sick of kind of crowded more urban places, which is sort of where I'm at the moment. When I hit the ground, please don't add a large fart sound effect, says Comic Tropes. I won't add a sound effect, but I will add the visual. We're probably going to have a couple of smell lines coming out of Chris, and a couple of flies, and probably some big buck teeth, and some sort of speech bubble that comes out of his head and hangs there for the entire time, because, you know, it's comic related, and it's probably going to say, I kiss poops. Which is, it's Chris's catchphrase. It's what he ends every show on, so it would seem unnatural not to include it. I love... deleted a line I actually wanted to keep there. I love that gag of The Simpsons where... isn't there a family photograph of them? And Bart is holding up like a speech bubble next to Homer's head that says something like that. Like, I don't know, something like, my butt stinks or something. And Homer says, I don't remember saying that. It's a great joke. Just occasionally I just remember things from The Simpsons and crack up and can't help it. The thing that made me laugh the other day was remembering that gag, and again I can't remember why it's on screen or what episode it's from, but there's like you see a newspaper from the past. It's a newspaper from, you know, like the 1920s or something, and it says on the front page, Woody Allen born. Like they know who Woody Allen was before he was famous enough so that his birth would be of note. That's just very funny. I'm just badly recreating Simpsons jokes without any of the context or timing in a kind of anecdotal sense on live stream. What a great way, what a great use of this modern technology. There is a play, to my knowledge, a stage play, actually about that. And I'm not kidding you. Sorry, I'm filled with belches, excuse me. There is a stage play which is about a post-nuclear war apocalyptic society where a bunch of people who miss The Simpsons decide that they're going to put on their own Simpsons episodes. There's no television, there's no technology, you know, electricity, the grid is offline type thing. And so people dress up. They make Simpsons costumes out of apocalyptic trash, and using the best memory of the episodes that they have, they try to recreate Simpsons episodes. This is a stage play I'm describing. It's a play about people that put on plays as The Simpsons in a post-apocalyptic world. I promise I didn't dream this up. It's a real thing. I can't remember what it's called, but you can look it up. If you just type in Simpsons Apocalypse stage play, you'll probably find it. I love that bit. God, I'm just remembering Simpsons jokes now. I love that in the Halloween episode where Bart has all those like powers and he can make people do what he wants, where his prank phone call to Moe's Tavern is just Moe going, "Everybody, can I have your attention? I'm a stupid moron with a big butt, and my butt smells, and I like to kiss my own butt," or something like that. Because there's just no pretense anymore. He doesn't even need to trick Moe. He can just make Moe say whatever. I just love how clunky and awkward the sentence is, and how he repeats the word butt like 5 times in one sentence. It's hilarious. Wind Ryu says, busy as usual, I see. Also, I have not forgotten the animation challenge I asked for. Just need to put the time towards it. Huh? I have not forgotten the animation challenge I asked for. What did you ask for? I'm doing a Lloyd Kaufman here. I don't remember. Let me just draw in the silence for a moment here. And just, yeah. I got beef brisket downstairs, guys. Beef brisket. It was cooked several days ago, and it's still good. And I also have a tiger bun, and a tiger bun is kind of like a hamburger bun, but there's melted cheese on top of the bread. And I'm gonna put the beef brisket inside of the hamburger tiger bun, and I'm gonna then put it in my mouth. Oh no, wait, no, probably I'll heat it up first. That is what I will do. I will heat it up. I will possibly add some kind of mustard into the beef brisket, and it will be very, very enjoyable. Let me see what's happening in the chat. Anthony Wynn says, Mr. Burns, a post-electric play. Is that it? Is that the name of the play? Well done. I asked for something to animate years ago, and you gave a concept dealing with an Argonian. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. You've lost me. I don't remember that one at all. Sorry. Ted Wilson asks, Toon Boom, huh? When did you make the switch from Flash? Well, I still use Animate, Adobe Animate. I just use Toon Boom for cleanup because it's better than Animate or Flash, whatever you want to call it. It's way better, but I still do all my compiling in Animate because I can't, you know, it's easy for me. I should make the switch fully, but I don't know. I don't like learning new things. It's very hard for me to do that. I got the old man brain. Can't learn new things. Speaking of old dogs and new tricks, Joyce has lately been I won't say she's been watching it, she's been putting it on in the background as background noise downstairs. There's a YouTube channel which is a senior dogs care home. So it's this building house run by these caretakers that have, I don't know, probably about 20 elderly dogs, and it's really cute. It's just tons of old dogs sitting on these. They have a couple of couches, they got big open space to run around. Not that really they do much running, but it's just cute. It's really cute. They all have, you know, gray hair and little white faces, and they're all kind of shaky, and their legs don't, you know, support their weight fully. I like dogs. I like any age of dog. I'm not a puppy guy. I would like a dog. I can't right now in the house that I'm in have a dog because of like I rent, so until I own my own place or that I get somewhere with different rules, I can't own a dog. But I will as soon as I can. I will get a dog, and a puppy's great, extremely cute. I find them very, very cute. But I actually like big, like an animal you can kind of like, you know, kind of wrestle or like, you know, hold down. And I think puppies are so little, you know, you want to be very delicate with them. An actual big dog that you can kind of savage. I think that's good for you, but it's also good for the dog because they have that pack mentality where they want to be kind of play fighting and stuff. I have a problem that I could go into regarding animals at the moment. There is a bunch of cats in my neighborhood, and I think 2 of them actually from the house at the back of, like, they're like, you know, neighboring me super close. And one day we made the mistake of giving them some treats, and now they just come by every single day. They come by every single day and they just sit outside and whine. And they've gone from being terrified of us and running away when we open the door to having nothing but complete and utter trust in us and just coming by, not kidding, 3-4 times a day and just sitting outside and waiting for treats. And because I have a soft heart, I will give in and usually give them treats. and it's, I'm only making the situation worse. I actually had a house inspection a while ago because, like I say, I rent it, and the damn cat was sat outside, and I had to say, that's not my cat. It's not my cat, because I'm not allowed to have a cat. And I had to say, like, I promise you, it's not mine. That cat you see is not mine, okay? And it was just sat outside, cold and shaking and expectantly looking as if it was going to be let in. And I had to say, no, please, that's not my cat. Alright, well, let's export what we've got. We've cleaned up 6 frames, which is, it's pathetic, but that's about what you're going to get. Animation takes a long old time. So, this is for the part of the action where Chris is falling through space. We're trying to create that sort of looping, rushing, falling look. Oh, no, I accidentally imported the model sheet. I don't want to do that. Okay. So, what I'm going to do is copy and paste it a couple of times. Just see how it looks. Just see how it looks. It's going to snap from one position to the other because I've done no in-between frames, but something like this. So this is just early days. Yeah, so it's like, meow. So it should go do 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 do. I mean, that'll work. That'll work. It's a, it's kind of flat, but it's only a tiny part of the action. So what I'm going to do is go in and from this in between, from this extreme here, probably to this extreme, I'm gonna, I don't know, maybe from that one to that one, I'm gonna add, oh gosh, I don't know, like 2-3 in-betweens maybe. So that's this 1 2 3 1 2 3, they're good. Now we're gonna copy this guy and paste him on a new frame of his very own. And now we want to make sure we don't get that snap in the animation by so just filling in a couple of frames. And while I'm doing that, I will take a couple questions, and maybe we can get that finished today before the end of the stream. Let me see. For the Dick Tracy analog that I run past, how about using 7-Eleven? I'm glad you said that, Chris. I was actually thinking about that. Chris, I want to talk to you directly now about, should we use copyrighted characters or not? Chris, by the way, is the presenter and writer and everything behind Comic Tropes, and it's his channel, and he's in the chat right now, so it's a good opportunity for me to ask him. 7-Eleven, yeah, this is not the convenience store. This is a character who is a comic book character, like a noir superhero character that Chris reviewed the comic from, and the character is hilarious. He's absolutely hilarious. You should really type in 7-Eleven Comic Tropes and watch the video when you get the chance, because it's so funny. He's like a, gangster fighting Dick Tracy type hero, but the whole idea is just completely crap. It's crap. He's a superhero that is in prison, but he doesn't need to be in prison. He's just kind of in prison as a disguise, but he also escapes prison every day and then comes back again. Oh, it's just, and his prisoner number is the name of the superhero, but no one can figure out that he's really the same guy who's the prisoner. Anyway, watch it. Yes, Chris, should we be using characters like 7-Eleven? And because we have these, I haven't actually done them yet, but in the intro, you'll see. So we have this Galactus type behind you, but that could be anything, it doesn't have to be Galactus, it could be something else. We have we have this character that was going to be sort of a Steve Gerber, Howard the Duck type, a sort of superhero, Superman type, a Conan the Barbarian type, but it could just be anybody with a sword or with a tentacle with a laser gun, a Hulk type. But I'm thinking, these could all be the real thing. It could be Hulk and Conan, or they could be you know, the Amazing Bulk or whatever. It could be just a copyright-free version of the Incredible Hulk, or it could be something from the Comic Tropes YouTube channel, like having, you know, this little character that pops up down the bottom here. That could be 7-Eleven because he wears, you know, a fedora type trilby hat. And people might recognize him. We'd probably want to raise him up a little bit more so you see the back of him, so you see his logo that he has on his back. But if you have some ideas, I really would welcome them. Anyway, let me get back to what I'm doing here, and you can email me, of course, if you want to. Tewak says, you may get this one a lot, Harry. Have you had a chance to play through Cuphead? No, I have not. I mean, I've had a chance to play through Cuphead. I could anytime I want, I could play through Cuphead, but I don't think the gameplay would appeal to me, and I've already sort of seen the animation, so I appreciate it on that level. I think the animation looks absolutely beautiful, but I am not really a run and gun type gamer particularly, so I didn't go for it. Okay, so we're just going to try and get these two positions to ease into one another. Hey, it's Glass Cake. Glass Cake, everyone, is James Cunningham, who's a buddy of mine. Excellent animator. He's actually been killing it lately. He's been putting out so many shorts. He went from being like me and not putting out very much stuff very often to being not like me and putting out stuff all the time, and they're really funny and awkward and well made, and you should watch them. You should check out Glass Cake. You've probably seen his short Jared before. That's a really good one. Was it called Jared? For some reason the name, I'm not very good with names, but maybe I'm just thinking that because it kind of looks like Pro Jared. But his new stuff's been really good too. Cristobal Aguilera says, you don't mind fan art, right? Why the heck would I mind fan art? Oh, hey, Fakanza's in the chat too. Fakanza, excellent voice actor and animator too. Fakanza actually has been voice acting on Glass Cake's new stuff. But no, Cristobal, why would I be offended or upset with fan art? That's totally cool with me. So if you're only just joining us today, we're working on an intro to the Comic Tropes YouTube channel, which is a great comic analysis and review channel. And we have this big, ambitious intro with lots of action and fun as Chris, the character from Comic Tropes, or not character, the presenter, he's a real person. Falling through this kind of comic book reality, meeting all these crazy characters. We've already done a lot of cleanup and animation. This is kind of give you an idea of what the Chris avatar is going to look like in the actual animation. There's some cleanup and animation, but we're not done yet, so that's why I'm back at it working today. Hey, we got a super chat, very generous, from Jose50. Jose50 says, Joseph only super chat tonight. Oh. I guess I was already late in my work. Now because of you I'm super late, which sounds cooler, so thank you. Hey, I hope I'm not making you late, but why would you stick around watching this crap? That's surprising to me, but I appreciate it. I appreciate that I've been given the terrifying power of inducing lateness in people named Jose. Not the best mutant superpower ever. Alrighty. Alright, let's get this. I'm trying to favor the red frame, so we're not quite doing in-betweens. I'll do an in-between on the next frame. I'm trying to just about get it so that it's not perfectly in the middle in-between. It's gonna end up looking wonky. In fact, what we can do is overshoot the final position there a little bit and bring it back. Terranium is a very active member of our Discord and a long-time supporter. We appreciate Terranium big time. Terranium, who I thought worked on Sundays. If ever I do a live stream on Terranium, if I ever do a live stream on Sunday, Terranium lets me know. But I'm glad to see you here. Harry, what's your opinion on relying on 3D references for drawing to make up for lack of talent? Dude, I don't have a negative opinion of relying on reference. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like, you know, whatever is necessary for you to make the stuff you want to make. If you are unable to do it without reference, it's better that you make it with reference than don't make it at all. And it depends. Are you actually tracing something, or are you literally just using it as reference? I can't draw shit without reference. You know, if you ask me to draw something more complicated than Hogstrong, if you ask me to draw a semi-truck or a horse or, you know, a church, I'm going to look at reference. You can be sure I'm going to look at reference. I can't draw that stuff without it. I'm not going to take a picture of a church and trace it, but I would use reference. So I think as long as the reference isn't full-on tracing and you are learning, then it's okay. But also, I mean, I think collage is okay. A collage isn't like tracing, though, because it's not like you're passing it off as your own original work. You're just saying, you know, this is somebody else's work that I'm changing the meaning of. It's fine with me. Please don't look to me as some kind of some sort of great permission giver of whether or not you should do certain things in art, because I really don't care. You can do whatever you want. I don't mean to sound indifferent. I don't, please, you know, I don't want to. I'm worried I'm gonna discourage people from doing something that they want to do, and I don't want to do that. Oh boy, we got another super chat from Joseph. Joseph says, hell yeah, Joseph only club. Yeah, we get a lot of Josephs with the super chats tonight. That's great though. Thank you, Joseph Crofts. And Joseph said, hell yeah, Guinness, 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 Guinness. I guess that's a reference to the drink. I don't know. I don't drink Guinness. What do you get if you kiss a girl? A shuriken in your back and a katana through your eye slot. Okay. Well, I'd like to color this tonight. I don't think we're really going to have time. But maybe what I can do is color in all the areas of black. Harry Ashfield. Harry Ashfield says, suck at Joseph's. Team Harry's here to represent. Well, I can't give myself a super chat. I'm Harry. I'm the only other member of Team Harry. But hey, thank you very much, Harry Ashfield. You guys are extremely generous. Joseph Croft says, Harry, have you seen any good Halloween movies lately? Well, I watched the new Scooby-Doo last night. The new 2D hand-drawn Scooby-Doo. And it was shit. I didn't like it at all. Let me see, good Halloween movies. No, not really. What was the last like good horror movie I watched? I just watch reviews of horror movies. That's how lazy I've become. I just watch other people talk about films and I go, yeah, that's fine now. To the point of, oh my god, this is so bad. I've actually started going to the point where I've told people I've seen films I haven't actually seen. Not like, you know, not actively. It's not like, you know, I go out and say, hey, guess what I watched last night? But if people say, hey, have you seen so-and-so? And I go, yeah, I've seen it. Because I kind of, if I've seen a 25-minute review that goes into extreme detail about the plot and the characters and, you know, just all of that stuff, I go, yeah, I've seen it. Because I basically have. I could still basically have a conversation about it. And it's not, it's, you know, it's kind of a lie. Here's another thing I've casually lied about in the past. And you guys, this is terrible. I shouldn't be admitting to this. I have listened to audiobooks, okay? Because I can listen to audiobooks while I work. It's like a very good way of taking in a book while still, you know, obviously doing a sort of visually distracting job like animating. And then I've told people, if they've brought up the book, I've said, yeah, I've read it. Because I feel like it's unnecessary detail to say, well, I haven't read it, but I've listened to somebody do an unabridged reading of it that was 12 hours long. I've essentially read it, have I not? If every single word in the book has now entered my consciousness, I feel like I've read it. The only giveaway would be if they say, okay, how do you spell the main character's last name? You know, let's say it's like, you know, Snobblegrubs or something, some weird last name. I'm gonna go, oh, you know, I could probably guess it, or if it's part of the title, obviously I wouldn't have a problem with that. But I feel like you can say you've read a book if you've only listened to the audiobook and it's unabridged. The only difference is you won't actually necessarily know all the spellings that you would know from reading the book. I did read somewhere some comment about if people say words incorrectly, it's not always a sign that they're stupid. It could be a sign that they're very well read, but have only ever read those words. And I suppose there's some truth to it. It's sort of a odd way of thinking about it. But I mean, if someone's using a word incorrectly, you can guess that maybe they could have possibly have only read it and never heard it. So it's not necessarily an indicator that they're totally ignorant. They could just be totally ignorant. This looks like Chris is trying to fly here. That's called delayed. I don't know. It's called drag. Trying to sort of get the hands to quickly he's pulling them up sharply so they have a little delay on them. It's called we do a little trolling. We do a little trolling. That's what it's called. We do a little trolling. It's gonna be a little trolling on Tuesday night, I think. I don't know. I don't know. Oh gosh. I worry about this has just been a depressing year. I should not go into it, but man, I'm feeling like I really feel like it's been as good as it's ever gonna be, and things are just gonna be horribly downhill over the next couple of decades. I don't know. Not that the last couple of years have been great, but just worry about just the pandemic and everything. Just I want the roaring 20s. I'd like the 20s to be roaring, but so far they've just been goring. I don't know. Okay, let me get off that grim shit. Joseph Valero says, you are a bit American, lol. You called it a last name rather than a surname. Well, this is what I was talking about earlier. See, I've had an American stepmom since I was 6. I mean, I've got my real mum too that I, you know, arguably spent more time with, but I watched, you know, a lot of American films, and I got an American wife that I've been living with now day in and day out for a decade. I just can't help it. Got a lot of American influences in my life, so a lot of stuff has rubbed off, and I can do it. I think I can make a conscious effort to snap back into Englishness, but it can take a little bit of effort, unfortunately. Oh, Terranium, I agree, man. I have stuff I can look forward to. It's other people I'm worried about. I think my life is going to be pretty good, but Just to get very, very serious for a few minutes, there was a visual the other day I saw of some kids in France having armed guards at their school because of the spat of terrorist stuff in France. And it was that combination of these kids are going to school. It was obviously, you know, it's the winter, the weather's bad and stuff, but there's kids going to school with armed guards, which was not a thing in the West when I was growing up. That's more of a... I think that's a recent development, although I know a lot of, you know, unlucky countries have had that sort of stuff for decades. But having armed guards at your school during a pandemic or during a period of time when, you know, you can't go to the trampoline park or whatever, you can't go and get a hot dog and actually sit in the restaurant and eat it without, you know, and especially if it's a lockdown. It's just that combination of what a weird time to grow up. I just felt bad for those kids, thinking I was very lucky to go to school in a time of prosperity and relative happiness in the Western world, and I didn't have this kind of crap to deal with. And it's just, I know I can deal with it, but I think of kids and people developing now, and I think those poor fuckers. I want to make their lives better somehow, and it's easy to feel helpless, I think, in a situation like that. Anyway, I said I'd get off it. We have one more in between today that we're going to draw. One more, folks, and then I'm going to call it, I think. And it's just going to be a straight in between, just to smooth out this action. So we got very little done today in the cleanup. You know how it is. You know how long I take to make things. We're just going to bring these two frames a little closer together with a bit of in-betweening. Funcube says you've proved to be English when you dubbed an oi into Dogtooth. Yes, Dogtooth is unmistakably English for sure. I definitely, it's hinted at actually in the cartoon, but Dogtooth's favorite food is going to be Cornish pasties. Somebody mentioned Cornwall in the chat earlier on, but he's going to be a fan of Cornish pasties, and he does walk past a shop, or there's a shop in the background when he's out on the street corner lamenting his situation with the comics, called King Cornish. And I would like to make King Cornish kind of a continuing brand name in his universe. So, you guys bullying me, saying I need to draw faster. How dare you? How dare you? You missed the soundboard, huh? You missed the soundboard, Davy88. Can I get that soundboard? How do I have not brought up the soundboard in ages. Give me a second, guys. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, it doesn't look like the soundboard is something I can open today, unfortunately, but it does look like I still have all of the files, so if I wanted to play something, this is what I used to play when people gave me super chats.
Boys, we're back in business!
This is the alternative version.
Back in business and overnight, in demand, well, alright.
In fact, let me turn off the music for a second while I'm doing that. You don't want to be listening to music if I'm playing music. Come on, Harry, get with it. Although that's the only bit of music I think I played. So yeah, that was always a fun classic, and got this one you guys remember probably.
Clean up, everybody.
Although I can't.
I used to stand at my door every now and then and yell, "Draw faster! Draw faster!"
Yes, Richard Williams with the draw faster. Of course, I was going to play more of the cleanup song, but I think I got copyrighted for that before. I got yeeted for playing the song from Dora. Yeah, there's a few more, but I think you guys, you know, you don't need to listen to all of them, do you? I'll try and bring that back. I'll try and reinstall the soundboard and bring that back, because they are fun, these sound effects.
You see, Ren, all I have to do is draw the exact same picture over and over 1,000 times per second. And voila! I have a cartoon! It couldn't be simpler.
Yep, that's what it is. That's all it takes to make a cartoon. All right, well, I'm sorry about that little distraction there. You guys bullied me into it. Bunch of bullies. The soundboard is mentioned in the stream gets paused. Lol.
We're back in business, boys.
Back in business, and ain't it grand? Let me turn on the music again. There we go. That's the chill beats. We're chilled once again. Oh yeah, all right. I'll play one more. You fucking joinks.
I know how you kids like 'em sloppy.
You kids like 'em sloppy.
Yeah, was to do a sloppy in between. That's what we're doing right here. That was why the sloppy came on board originally, because these in betweens are sloppy. Not sloppy enough though. That's the exchange that happened, or that's the trade-off that you do. Is when I do a live stream, I get a lot less work done than if I spent 2 hours just sat here, you know, at my desk. You know, grinding away. I get less work done because I'm distracted by talking and showing people things and having to constantly explain what I'm doing, because it's also obtuse. But at the same time, it's like, well, hey, you know, super chats come along every so often, and it's also fun, and it's also a nice way to connect with people and show them, hey, look, I'm still doing stuff. I've not left you completely. No, we gotta trace this foot. So it's nice to work on live stream and show you guys I'm still here, I'm still with you.
I know how you kids like 'em sloppy.
Back in business, and ain't it grand? Let the good times roll. That's from the film Dick Tracy, by the way, which is a good film. It's a good film. It was done dirty at the box office. I like it though. Do like the 1990 Warren Beatty Dick Tracy. Big boy did it. 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 That's a reference to the film. That's when they are slowing down the recording of Mumbles, Dustin Hoffman's best ever character portrayed on screen. Mumbles, the gangster that talks so fast you can't understand him, but they manage to slow down his recorded voice, and they find out it's a confession. He is implicating his boss, Big Boy, in the crime. Big Boy did it. Alright. Harry's just talking about his nonsense 90s shit that no one cares about. Alrighty, we're gonna get sloppy on this one. Because people are not gonna care. It's probably gonna be on a 1, which means it's gonna be seen for 24th of a second. Let's just try and power through it. But this is the thing, you know, I can't look at the comments if I'm drawing, because I want to be present. I want to be your buddy. I want to be talking to you guys. It's really hard to do that when I'm fully heads down, focused on the stream. So focused on the work. Excuse me. Which Scooby-Doo cartoon do you enjoy the most? Asks Savvy88. Well, I think I said earlier, Zombie Island I think is the best of the animated films. In terms of actual TV stuff, I like, they're stupid as fuck, but I like the ones with the guest stars from the 70s, the new Scooby-Doo movies, which were not movies really, they were like, you know, TV length, 45-minute things, but they had just weird guest stars. Like they had Mama Cass, they had real people, and then they also had dead people or people that didn't exist. Like they'd have Sherlock Holmes, and then they'd have Mama Cass from the Mamas and the Papas, the voice actress, the singer. And if you watch that, it's very unfortunate. They only make jokes about her weight. She was famously quite an overweight singer, and all they do is make fat jokes basically for the whole thing. Poor woman had to basically make fun of herself, and she probably didn't enjoy it. But I like those just because they're so silly. And then, you know, there's the Three Stooges, which is, they were real people, but they're kind of portraying, you know, characters. They meet Batman and Robin. Oh my god, there is a great Batman and Batman animation era. Let me look it up here. Happy Harry Tunes Batman. There's an animation era in the Batman episode of Scooby-Doo, the new Scooby-Doo movies, where they draw him with, yes, yeah, this fucking thing here. Check this out. Is this it? Yes, with his giant. They draw Batman with a giant golden pimp ring on his hand. Now, it's not like he's midway through getting changed out of some kind of disguise, okay? It's not like he was actually wearing he was wearing that for some reason. Bruce Wayne was wearing a big gold ring and he quickly got dressed as Batman. It's a pure animation error. They have drawn him, one moment he's Batman, he's got his blue gloves on. The next shot, not only is he not wearing a glove, he's wearing a giant golden ring on his hand. How do you fuck that up? My theory with that is that they were reusing, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get it, Jesus, I'm trying to get it on the other monitor. My theory is that they had that arm animated, because I think his hand is like kind of ushering them over, like saying, hey, come over here guys, look what I found. I think they had animated that arm and they didn't want to bother like reanimating it or something, and so they just reused it on and just drew the Batman body in. But why wouldn't you trace it? It would take minutes just to trace over it and you know, exclude the ring and put the glove in there, because they presumably had to recolor it. Anyway, it's an insane error, a real insane error. That one always stuck out to me. Oh, hey, Ivan's in the chat. Ivan Almighty, everyone. I didn't know you were in the chat, Ivan. Ivan says he remembers it. He says, dude, I remember that. It fucked with me so much as a kid. Yeah. How do you fuck that up? It's one thing if you, like, leave off the glove, because then they just, you know, just think that somebody just left the glove off by mistake. But to include a costume element that doesn't even exist, has never existed on Batman, it's a great error. I was watching, actually, it was a really good, fun Halloween upload. My buddy Phelan Porteous uploaded a review of the Real Ghostbusters episode for Halloween that has The Simpsons in it. Now, it sounds fucked up, but it sounds like those two things were not on TV at the same time, but they technically were. The Real Ghostbusters went off the air probably in like 92, and The Simpsons started, I think, in 89. So there was a brief period where both shows were on the air, and there's an episode where they have a parody family appear. It's one of the later episodes. It's animated really badly. They started doing really cheap outsourced animation, and he points out, it's on his if you type in Phelous, Phelous, you'll find the channel. It's one of his newer videos, and it's got a lot of great animation errors in it, and he pointed them out, and just some of them are classic. There's one where it's clearly low res, like it looks like they zoomed the shot in about 50%, and he paused it and showed you why, and it's because Winston, the one Ghostbuster that isn't white, they painted him white and they made him like a Caucasian guy, and you can just see Winston's hand in the shot. Like, clearly he was in the shot too prominently, and they went, oh my god, like, we can't have that error. They actually have had that error before. There was a previous shot where they painted Winston white, so they just cropped the shot really heavily, and it's filled with stuff like that. I can't help it, it's funny. Bad animation smears, or animation smears in general, I don't think are worth pointing out, but stuff that's kind of illogical is really funny. I guess the Winston example is not that funny, because it's just obviously somebody made a mistake, but something like Batman having a golden pimp ring for no reason is funny to me. Fun Cubes keeps saying 10-minute animation challenge to end the stream. Alright, I'll tell you what, guys. Oh man, okay, it's nearly 10. Gosh. All right. Well, guys, this is not a very productive stream. It hasn't been a very productive stream, but that's quite okay. That's my fault. And I'm just gonna wrap up this in between here, and we're gonna get it really sloppy, and then we'll look at what I did today. Not the most dynamic bit of animation, but it's obviously a big shot with a lot going on, and I think with a nice background, this shot will come out together and come out okay. What are you talking about, Harry Ashfield?
Now let's all go out for frosty chocolate milkshakes.
Homer's voice used to be a lot gruffer. He kind of,
Oh boy, what are you doing?
I can't do it, but that gruffness that he had,
Frosty chocolate milkshakes.
like a dad from the 50s. Alrighty. If you're tired, I'm okay with that. Well, thank you, FunCubes. FunCubes is suggesting a 10-minute animation challenge. I'm up for doing that. I think it's depressing, though, because people realize, they go, well, hey, if you can animate something in 10 minutes, how come in the last 2 hours of the live stream you only got 6 frames done? But, you know, the difference is, of course, that we're trying to do these with a little bit more cleanup, a little bit higher level of cleanup, a little bit more fidelity than a 10-minute animation challenge. But guys, I am open to it. I'm open to a 10-minute animation challenge. If you think there's something I could animate in 10 minutes, I will try. And I warn you that the results will not be good. It will not be at a standard that would be in any way acceptable, as is the way when you only have 10 minutes to do something. So you guys can start suggesting things now, or you can do so in a minute when I'm actually looking at the chat. Oh boy. Draw a street shark. I did a tweet a couple of years back, well, probably many years ago, sadly, that I don't think really got very many retweets, but I thought it was hilarious. And I made a fake Street Sharks movie poster in Photoshop, only in about 10 minutes. I didn't spend any time on it, but it was a fake Street Sharks movie poster where every character was played by Tommy Lee Jones, and it said Tommy Lee Jones is Street Sharks, and all the Street Sharks have Tommy Lee Jones's head. I thought that was funny at the time. I guess no one else did, but that's okay, you know. You live and learn. I think Tommy Lee Jones playing the Street Sharks is very funny. It's very funny to me. All right, so if you remember, so a lot of the animation that Chris running has already been done. Obviously the animation is done, but the cleanup now has been done by my assistant as well. And then some of the stuff here at the end I've done, and we're just working now on this stuff at the beginning. This stuff, so him falling through space and landing, I gotta do, and that's what we've been working on today. Which is, it's a little, I could do with a little, I don't know, I could smooth it out with a few more frames. It's a little bit schlunky. That's a word, guys. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, so this is still rough, but remember this is just him falling, like kind of just a little loop. I'm gonna smooth it out. I'm gonna add a few more frames, or I could just time it differently. I don't know. It's fine. It's okay. I'm just telling you it's fine, it's okay. Like, you've got some burn, like some bad burn on your back and you can't see it and you're like, how is it? It's fine, it's okay, you'll be okay, don't worry. No, the animation's not great, but we've got a lot to do, and that's the sacrifice you make doing it on live stream. You kind of end up not really doing your best work. Anyway, guys, we're gonna call it now on Comic Tropes. And for the next 10 minutes, I'm gonna be animating. What I'm going to be animating, I can't tell you yet, because you guys are going to tell me. And it's going to be only 10 minutes of animation. It's going to be intense. It's going to be energetic. And we're going to see. I'm seeing people animate Pikachu doing a Thunderbolt. No, Terranium. That's... No, I'm not doing that. Street Sharks, but they're all koi fish. No. Animate bedroom eyes? You mean like come hither eyes? Animate Dick Tracy sucks prune face in his prune ace. I don't know what, oh, face. Bowser just typoed face. 69 people watching. 69 dudes! 73 for me. But do Wario play in the bass? Oh, Zum's eating a chili burger. Alright, 80, you got it. We're doing Zum's eating a chili burger. A chili burger? What the hell is a chili burger? No, we're doing Zumzy with the chili burger. Okay, it's 10:04. It's 10:04. I'm gonna say at 10:05 exactly. We're gonna animate Zumzy eating a chili burger. Okay, so 10:05. It's 10:04 for me right now, and I'm just gonna say when it turns over, so it's exactly 10 minutes. We're gonna start the countdown. Okay, 10:05. Okay, all right. So shit. Okay, holy shit. All right, Zumzy is a character I came up with when I was a kid. I have talked a little bit about Zumzy before on live stream, and no one cares except for me, but that's okay. So Zumzy is a rabbit alien. He is a Zum, and he is an alien called a Zum. And he is usually drawn better than this, but we are on a tight time restriction. Okay, so that's that. We're gonna have Zumzy with his mouth open, putting the burger in like this, like so. Oh boy, okay. How about it? He's like that. He's like closing his eyes, and then we're gonna have him like this at the end, except he's got to have some sort of different look about him, like he's like looking like all satisfied or something. I don't know. Yeah. I know. He's using his neckerchief, his famous neckerchief, to dab his dirty mouth. Okay, he said it was okay. So there we go. Okay, so now we got to do in between. No, not in between. Clean up. All right, so let's get a nice big fat brush. I'm gonna go with the 10 just because it makes my life a little bit easier. This is panic. This is full panic setting in now. Okay, full. No, that's. We want a thicker brush than that, boy. Okay. All right. So Zumzy is looking like. Gotta make him look happier. Why does he look so miserable? He's like miserable to be eating a burger. Oh boy. Oh, this is gonna be low grade animation. Oh boy. Okay, and then the big streak of hair is Zumzy hair hanging all over the place, and he's looking at the burger. We don't have time. We don't have time. We do not have time for any level of quality to be achieved. Okay. And then the neckerchief at the back like that. Okay, it has to look acceptable, but we do not have time. His little tail, his little fat gut. Okay. Okay, 2 minutes. All right, 2 minutes have gone. 2 minutes have gone, and we have gotten 0 frames finished yet. I think Zumzy had 3 fingers. It's been a while since I've drawn him. And somebody, probably the person that asked me to do this, I'm sorry, I've forgotten who it was, said the chili was a chili burger, so I'm just representing that with there being some sort of goo hanging out the side of the burger. Okay, that's frame number 1. It's not very good, okay? Okay, frame number 2 is the burger. I'm sorry, I forgot who asked for it already. It was 80. ADM. Yes, I remember now. Oh my life. Oh my life. I'm not gonna be able to finish. Oh boy. 10 minutes. That's not enough time to do it all. Oh yeah, we didn't finish Zumzi's ears. Oh, I'm sorry. Zumzi is a lop-eared rabbit type creature. He has ears that hang down at the back. I remember specifically seeing a lop-eared rabbit in a pet store as a kid, and I had never seen one before, and I thought it was the coolest, cutest thing. I thought rabbits' ears all just went up. I didn't know that they could stand. They could just flop down. Oh, this is, guys, what are you doing to me? What are you doing to me with the challenge? Because it's just gonna look like crap. You're gonna ruin my good name. My good name that I've spent so long cultivating. Okay, alright, well let's start to clean things up just a little bit now. We're gonna get rid of our two frames, our two rough frames. I'm gonna I've got that kind of anal problem. That doesn't sound good. I have an anal problem. I have a problem with being anal when it comes to cleanup. I just want it to be good and on model, but it's not on model. It looks like crapola. Alright, so here's where the magic happens, everyone. First of all, we're going to copy and paste this guy at the end, because I think that's going to be our end frame with a few tweaks. We are going to grab this guy. We're going to copy. We're going to paste it, okay? And he is going to be going down before he goes up. That's the anticipation before the action. This is classic animation type stuff, okay? Everybody should know this by now. Okay, the hair is delaying. Everything's delaying. Look at these delays that are happening. You're learning about the power of the warp tool now. The envelope feature, whatever you call it. Warp tool sounds like something they would use in Star Trek. So he's putting the burger down. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh, this is bad. This is bad. Okay, he's going down. Arm is not connecting to the body anymore for some reason. Fucking hell, dude. And we got him coming up at the end. We're going to do the same thing at the end with... Alright, I really would like to not see that Comic Tropes image anymore. Okay. Alright, we're gonna have the hair move up here a little bit and get sort of starting to settle, I guess. Oh boy, oh boy. Alright, what am I doing? How am I doing for time? Okay, it's I have 4 minutes left. I have 4 minutes left to have him finish the burger. Oh, you see with the deadline? This is what I was talking about earlier. With the deadline, I can't make up my mind about anything. And the walls start to feel like they're closing in. Okay. Alright, that's... Okay, so now we just need a great high quality in between. We'll copy and paste those hands, because drawing this burger is turning into a nightmare. Oh my life. Okay, and the ears are sort of roughly in between, and then the thing is going to be doing that kind of thing. And the tooth, I just keep forgetting the tooth even exists. Okay, he is Up on his legs like that. Oh boy, I was gonna have him dabbing his mouth with with his. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna have the arm straight down. No, I can't. I can't have the arm straight down. It's too boring. This is the end pose now, guys. Okay. Oh, how long? Okay, I've literally got 2 minutes left. Fuck. No way. No way. He's looking all satisfied. He's got a little bit. He is supposed to be dabbing his mouth here with his neckerchief, but it's not really apparent because of low-grade drawing, which is not my fault because I've been given 10 minutes to do this by you. Now this is extra sloppy. Speaking about you kids liking extra sloppy. Okay. Oh, can we? No, 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 don't want that. Oh, literally got a minute. Okay, literally got a minute. All right, let's just copy. Ow, this is like painful to watch. It's like watching somebody die. What's been disabled? What did I just disable? Okay, all right. Well, that was Jesus. That was it. That. Why was that so hard? That was a really hard one. Ow. Well. All right. Look. Look, you bastards. Look what you've done. That one. That was so much harder than the time I tried to. I think we had Zumsy do a jump once, and that came together okay. I think in the time that we had. Tried to do Mario eating a bowl of spaghetti. That came together okay. All right. Now let's see. We've got frame 1. Could be doing my anticipation before the action. It's completely unnecessary. I'm wondering if, okay, technically we can't draw any new frames. I'm just wondering if maybe I could reuse some. No, I could reuse this frame, but then he's bringing the burger back out. Yeah. All right, you guys, you got me. You got me. This is absolutely the worst. It's not good enough. If anybody can do better in 10 minutes, I welcome them too. I'm not being facetious. I mean it. Please, if you could do better, just show me what you're up to. Yum. So really what I wanted to do was between this drawing and this drawing, I'd want him to have a frame where so this is the finished thing, okay? So just know that that's the finished thing, but I wanted to obviously have a frame between these two positions. That would be the really key thing. And probably what I'd want to do is have him go down and do like a big kind of sort of swallow, oh boy, kind of to really sell it. Like that would be the thing. Obviously you'd want to do a couple of in-betweens, but you want even after that you could probably you may want him to come up again after he's sort of to kind of finish the swallow off. You can even have like a bulge down his belly, kind of like sliding down and sort of hit his belly, but something kind of to that effect of there we go. That's the kind of thing I would try and do if I had time, but I didn't have time. You swines gave me 10 minutes. So there we have it, everyone. I am going to call it there. and we are going to get back together again sometime soon. I'm going to try and finish this Comic Tropes intro in the next couple of days. And the commissions before getting back to the horribly delayed Dr. Bees. Thank you so much for coming by tonight, everyone. Special thanks to the super chatters. You guys really do make it all worthwhile in a literal sense. So, appreciate it all and appreciate you all. Thank you, everyone. Have a good week, however you can, in this wretched old year of 2020. What a lot of fun it is. Take care, everyone. Have a good one.